Okay, it's 2012. Candace is pregnant with our second child, and our first one is 2 years old, doing some work around the house on a probably Sunday. It was a Sunday, and I was having some beers like I usually do and just working around the house.
Well, because he had me convinced that if he had beers, it woke him up and therefore he could do errands around the house, like hanging photos. We had some new photos of the babies he wanted to hang.
Yes.
Or I wanted hung.
Yes.
So in order to do that, if I gave him beers, then he would do that.
So she came up and gave me a kiss, and then she sniffed my face a little bit, and then asked me.
You don't say that because you didn't know I sniffed your face. I just gave you a kiss because I am Judge Judy.
Okay. And then?
And I smelled something that should not have been on his face. The smell of
What?
cocaine.
Okay.
So I said to him, "Did you do coke?" And he said,
No, of course not.
"Yeah. Well, Judge Judy is much better than that." So I said, "You're sure you didn't do any coke?" I mean, it's a really distinctive smell. So when you go to kiss your husband, when you smell that, it's pretty evident. So I gave him a second chance and I said, "Did you do any coke?"
No, of course
So I
not.
said, "Okay, no problem." Now, mind you, back in the day, we went wild. We partied, we've tried things, but now we are parents and I am pregnant with my second child. That life was like us being teenagers. So I thought, how can I figure out if he's really done it or not? Because I don't believe him. So I went on my phone. I said, "Where can I get a drug test?" And it said the grocery store. I said, "Oh, that's fantastic." So I told him, "I'm going to go to the grocery store to get some baby formula and I'll be right back." And he said,
Can you get me some beers?
"Sure, no problem." So I go to the grocery store and I come back and I have a 6-pack of beers I put on the table, and right next to it, I had a drug test. And I said, "Okay, so if you're sober, then you take this test, you go pee in this cup, and it will tell me anything that you've done." And what'd you say?
Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. Peed in the cup.
Yes, I watched him.
And then I think she put the little strip in or something like that. And it had 8 different things across it with different colors. And then one of them started going up. I was like, oh, that's weird. It was the methamphetamine one. And so
I asked him again, "Did you do anything that you want to tell me about?"
And I don't really remember the story past then until she threatened to say it's either the cocaine or the family. And when Candace makes a threat like that, I know she's not joking. And so...
Well, because in reality, it's not a threat. And so I've had a lot of friends who have gone through similar situations, even some patients that have reached out to me in this. And I didn't know this at the time. This is a decade ago now. But what was true to me is I had a standard. And that standard was, we're raising a family. I am pregnant. It's a Sunday afternoon. We're not doing coke in this house. That is not around my daughters. That is not the father that I want to be around them. And so it was a very distinction of me having the standard and him having a choice. You can have that and you can continue that lifestyle because clearly you've been doing some of this stuff without me knowing because we haven't done this for a really, really long time. Or you can choose your family.
And so I left.
Forcefully, he left.
Yes, and I left. And then she called a couple friends. I went to a hotel, and she called a couple friends to try to talk me out of being so stupid. And the next morning when I woke up, I was like, damn.
He had to go to work the next
I had to go to
morning.
work, and...
Oh, and he said to me, he pulled out the coke that he was hiding, and he said, "I am just going to finish the rest of this and then I'll be done." And I looked at him and I said, over my dead body, will you finish that in this house with our children? And that's when he left.
And then
With his Coke. To the Marriott.
to the Marriott down the street.
3 blocks away.
Yes. And then fast forward to August 20th, the next day when I had to go to work, I knew I was faced with a decision where I had to either quit cocaine and have a family or keep doing it. And so I made this decision to quit.
And what he's not mentioning is what I didn't know is he had this addiction for about a year. Like I said, he convinced me that him drinking beers relaxed him and gave him energy to do the errands around the house. I don't have that addictive personality. So I thought, okay, you have that personality. There's nothing wrong with a few beers. Like, have fun hanging pictures and doing errands. But it really hit me when I realized I was lied to for an entire year. And mind you, I had a child in that year, and now I'm pregnant. And so just what I'm going through to find out he's really not the man I trusted for this last year was really, really hard. Not just for him on his decision, but on my decision on if he does choose the family, do I forgive him? Like, that's a big thing to get over. I felt cheated for a year.
Yeah, and so every day after that, I thought about beer and cocaine, at least for 6 months, where I just thought about on my way home and be like, it'd be so good to have a beer and a bump. And so we talked to Harry the healer.
Yeah, we got therapy,
We had to-
modern therapy.
We had to restrict alcohol because that was a trigger for me.
And we were leaving the next week for Hawaii.
Yes.
Our biggest vacation we planned once a year, cost a lot of money. I was like, I am not going on this vacation. I don't know who you are. Yet along, we like to have a couple of drinks. I mean, I was pregnant, so I'd have maybe 1 drink if I'm lucky, you know? But to go on a vacation with somebody I didn't know, and I was just so heartbroken. We really just trained with Harry every day to figure out what the core of this was and how we could move forward.
Yeah. So it was a lot of mental and emotional struggle on both of our parts. And I think it would be helpful for us to share some of our tools that we've used to fight that in our lives. And I think over the next month, we should share them with you in our new venture called The Good Life.
The good life, y'all.
And the lesson here is, for me, if you want to be healthy and happy, you have to stop doing what's hurting you first. And that was stopping the cocaine. And that began the journey of us growing mentally and emotionally closer to each other and figuring out how to physiologically correct some of the damage that was done from all the drugs that have been ingested into my body.
And for me, it was really about getting congruent with our standards, making agreements within our relationships, and what do we value most now? Because a lot of people will go, we say, from being young and in a party stage to having a family, and sometimes you just don't sit down and have these new conversations. What is the most valuable thing to us? What are the new agreements? They're not rules between us, it's just things that we agree on, things that I need to happen from him and things that he needs to happen from me. And so when we can come to an agreement with this, we were able to really reverse engineer everything that happened so that we could move forward and celebrate today, which is him
10
being
years.
10 years sober from cocaine and drugs.
Yep.
And so that's been a really big achievement.
Yeah, totally.
Like up there with like having kids and Guinness records. And because recently for me, you guys know I've suffered from panic attacks, right? And I don't even drink a lot, but I like to have a glass of wine or two. And I've realized in this stage of my life that 1 or 2 glasses of wine just is not good for me because of what I'm going through. And to stop that was really hard. It's like, I'm not an alcoholic, I don't drink a lot. Why can't I just have a glass or two? I'm 43, I deserve it. But it's not beneficial to my body right now. And I thought about how hard it would have to be for him, who has that addictive personality, was doing this regularly every week. I don't know how many times or he hid stuff all over. Later we unpacked what he could remember what he hid.
Yes.
And so it's really a journey on how you can support each other, on these things that don't benefit you and don't take you to your next greatest self.
Word.
So the good life coming at you.
For real, y'all.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.